Hello everyone and welcome. This presentation examines how English for specific purposes assessment influences both professional and academic learning environments. It highlights the shift from testing general language knowledge to evaluating whether learners can perform real, role-based tasks in their field. The session also explores the practical implications of ESP assessment for teachers, including how to design tasks, align assessments with course goals, and provide meaningful feedback. Learners, including how assessment criteria affect motivation, confidence, and the ability to transfer skills from the classroom to the workplace. The assessment of English for specific purposes, ESP, focuses on evaluating a learner's ability to function effectively within a specific professional or academic context. Unlike general language testing, ESP assessment prioritizes occupational competence and real-world application over abstract linguistic knowledge. It is not a specific product or a single methodology, it is an approach to language teaching rooted in the learner's specific needs. In ESP, assessment should closely match real communication situations in the field, so it fits the professional or academic communities our learners want to reach. General English versus ESP assessment. The primary distinction between General English and ESP assessment lies in their underlying objectives and contextualization. While General English assessments typically measure broad linguistic competence through standardized grammar and vocabulary tasks, ESP assessments are highly contextualized and task-based, measuring the learner's capacity to perform specific occupational functions. General English assessment focuses on broad, standardized, grammar and vocabulary-focused, success means passing the test. ESP assessment focuses on narrow, highly contextualized, and task-based. Success means performing the job effectively. For example, in the medical field, an assessment must evaluate a surgeon's ability to communicate accurately during a patient handover, rather than their ability to write a general academic essay, ensuring that language proficiency directly supports professional safety and success. What ESP assessment should measure, not just test. A key ESP principle is that assessment should evaluate task performance, can they do the job-related communication, genre knowledge, can they produce the expected text types, pragmatic effectiveness, do they communicate appropriately for purpose and audience, professional communication competence, can they handle typical interactions responsibly. So, ESP assessment is not simply measuring English. It is measuring communicative capability in a domain. The core purpose of ESP assessment. The core purpose of ESP assessment is to ensure that a learner's language skills are sufficient to perform their professional duties safely and efficiently. These assessments frequently serve as gatekeeping, certifying professionals meet the linguistic requirements of their roles, identifying training gaps, ensuring safety and efficiency in the workplace, confirming that the language barrier does not become a professional barrier. For example, in the International Civil Aviation Organization English Proficiency Test, which acts as a mandatory gatekeeping mechanism, pilots must demonstrate operational language proficiency to fly internationally, regardless of their technical aviation skills. The 5 pillars of ESP assessment. Language assessment is traditionally evaluated using 5 foundational principles: authenticity, validity, reliability, practicality, washback. In the context of ESP, each principle serves distinct functions. Validity ensures accurate measurement, reliability guarantees consistency, authenticity reflects real-world use, practicality addresses feasibility, and washback considers the impact on teaching and learning. Pillar 1, Authenticity. Authenticity is a central principle in ESP assessment, requiring that test tasks closely replicate the conditions, texts, and cognitive demands of the target workplace. This involves use of genuine texts and realia, replicating workplace conditions, time limits, noise, stress, Assessing pragmatic competence, not just grammar. For example, rather than assessing a culinary student's listening comprehension in a quiet laboratory, an authentic ESP test would utilize an audio recording of a busy commercial kitchen, requiring the student to accurately process and record modified orders amidst significant ambient noise. Pillar 2, Validity. In ESP, construct validity requires test designers to ensure that the assessment measures language proficiency rather than the learner's subject matter expertise. Test tasks must possess content validity. Does it cover the target situation? Construct validity. Are we penalizing a lack of medical knowledge or a lack of English? Face validity. Does the test look professional to the learner? For instance, if a nursing student provides an incorrect medical diagnosis during a role-play assessment due to a lack of clinical knowledge rather than a failure to comprehend the patient's English symptoms, the assessment lacks linguistic validity. Pillar 3, Reliability. Reliability is tricky in ESP because authentic tasks are often subjective. How do we grade consistently? Reliability, or the consistency of assessment scores, presents a challenge in ESP because authentic workplace tasks are often subjective and open-ended. To maintain inter-rater reliability, ESP practitioners must use highly specific, criterion-referenced rubrics. Standardize the prompts while keeping the tasks authentic. Undergo rigorous rater training. For example, when multiple human resources managers evaluate a conflict resolution role-play, they must apply a standardized behavioral rubric that explicitly defines the linguistic markers of a successful response, ensuring consistent scoring across different evaluators. Pillar 4, Practicality. Practicality dictates that an assessment must be feasible regarding time and budget constraints, availability of subject matter experts, scalability for large corporate training programs. A concrete example of this principle appears in international call centers, which frequently substitute costly, individual speaking interviews with automated, AI-based speech assessment tools at the pre-screening stage. This allows them to keep the process practical while still preserving an acceptable standard of evaluation quality. Pillar 5, Washback. Washback refers to the influence that an assessment exerts on teaching and learning processes. In ESP, the objective is to generate positive washback, where preparing for the assessment directly enhances the learner's professional skills and workplace performance. This strategy includes aligning test preparation with actual job skills, motivating adult learners through relevant content, providing actionable feedback for the workplace. For example, if a business English final examination requires students to develop and deliver a venture capital pitch deck, the preparation process inherently improves their practical presentation and persuasion skills, creating a direct and beneficial impact on their professional development. Needs analysis as assessment. In ESP, needs analysis functions as the foundational assessment that informs the entire curriculum design, rather than merely serving to place students in appropriate levels. This diagnostic phase focuses on identifying the gap between current and required skills, involving stakeholders, managers, clients. Continuous, not just a one-time pre-test. A practical methodology involves the ESP practitioner shadowing an IT help desk technician to observe and record actual communicative events, thereby gathering empirical data to design a highly targeted syllabus and subsequent assessments. In general English, you assess to place students. In ESP, we assess to design the course. Needs analysis is the first assessment. Types of assessments in ESP. Proficiency versus achievement in ESP. ESP assessments must clearly differentiate between proficiency tests, which measure general workplace language ability independent of a specific course, and achievement tests, which measure the mastery of specific instructional objectives. While proficiency tests are often used for initial employment screening, ESP courses primarily utilize criterion-referenced achievement tests to evaluate specific training outcomes. Proficiency, independent of any course. Achievement, tied directly to syllabus objectives. ESP leans heavily on criterion-referenced achievement. For example, an achievement test in a project management course could ask learners to write and defend a project completion report, directly testing the specific skills they learned in the module. Diagnostic assessment. Diagnostic assessments in ESP are utilized to identify specific, localized linguistic weaknesses before formal instruction begins, enabling highly targeted and efficient training interventions. It includes pinpointing specific linguistic weaknesses, saving corporate time and money by targeting training, low stakes, high insight. These evaluations analyze authentic workplace outputs to uncover micro errors that impede professional communication. For example, an ESP instructor might analyze a sales representative's previous client emails to diagnose a recurring issue with overly direct phrasing and a lack of diplomatic hedging, using this data to adjust a subsequent workshop on professional tone. Placement assessment. Placement assessments in ESP must categorize learners not only by their general language proficiency, but also by their professional roles and specific skill requirements to ensure classroom relevance. ESP courses are highly specialized. Grouping by professional role. Assessing specific skill dominance, for example, strong reading, weak speaking. Ensuring peer relevance in the classroom. A practical example is enrolling a nurse with strong writing skills but limited confidence in spoken English in a specialized medical handover communication course, rather than a general conversation class, so the training directly supports the communication tasks they perform at work. Formative versus summative in corporate and academic ESP. ESP curricula typically emphasize continuous formative assessment over high-stakes summative evaluation, as iterative feedback is more conducive to adult professional development. Formative assessments provide ongoing opportunities to refine workplace skills. Summative assessments serve as final certifications of competence. For instance, a formative task might involve peer review of a draft project proposal, whereas the summative assessment requires the learner to present the finalized proposal to a panel of industry stakeholders for formal evaluation. Task-based and performance assessment. Task-based language assessment, TBLA, is highly effective in ESP because it evaluates a learner's ability to complete meaningful, real-world professional tasks rather than testing isolated linguistic items. Focus on meaning and task outcome. Language is the tool, not the target. Mirroring real-world cognitive demands. For example, instead of administering a vocabulary test on culinary terms, a task-based language assessment approach would require a culinary student to read a complex recipe, prepare the ingredients, and simultaneously articulate their safety procedures to an assessor. Designing ESP-specific rubrics. Assessments require specialized rubrics that prioritize task achievement, did the job get done? Pragmatic appropriateness, was the tone right? Linguistic accuracy, only penalize errors that impede meaning. For example, a rubric for a medical handover would award the highest marks for the clear, accurate, and timely transmission of vital signs, while severely penalizing omissions or mispronunciations that could compromise patient safety. Giving adequate feedback. Providing feedback to adult professionals requires a respectful, highly specific approach that frames linguistic corrections in terms of professional communication efficacy. Feedback must focus on communication breakdowns rather than grammar mistakes. Provide upgrades, for example, instead of saying X, professionals say Y. Encourage peer feedback among colleagues. For instance, instead of merely correcting a verb tense in a financial report, an instructor might advise an executive that using the past tense here makes it sound like the loss is finalized. Use present perfect to show it's ongoing. Ethics and fairness in ESP assessment. Global workplaces are diverse. To keep ESP assessment ethical and fair, it is important to avoid cultural bias and to recognize English as a lingua franca, ELF, in international settings. Test tasks should be culturally neutral, and learners should not be penalized if they are unfamiliar with region-specific idioms or expressions. ESP assessment ethics includes embracing English as a lingua franca, ELF. Avoiding culturally biased idioms in test prompts. Providing reasonable accommodations for diverse learning backgrounds. A practical application of this principle is to ensure that a global corporate leadership assessment does not disadvantage non-native speakers by relying on localized idioms. Assessment in ESP is different from general language assessment because it is closely tied to specific contexts, specific goals, and specific communicative tasks. Rather than measuring language ability in isolation, ESP assessment measures the extent to which learners can use the language to perform real functions required by their profession. This feature makes ESP assessment more challenging, because test designers must translate workplace demands into observable classroom performance. Tasks need to reflect what learners will actually do, for example, interpreting client requests, writing reports, participating in technical meetings, responding to emergencies. At the same time, it makes ESP assessment more meaningful because success is directly linked to practical competence and employability.